Hello everyone, my name is Andrew. Today we continue learning Python, and today we create that depth diagram from Binance in Python. So let's start. Once again, today we create that diagram, that graph from Binance, and I will explain what it is, why do we need it, and all that stuff. Before we start, I want to say that it's not an advice for you to invest your money in Bitcoin or in any other asset. I'm just telling you about the graph, and don't listen to me. All of that is a scam. So today we'll create that graph, and why do we need it? Let's first of all talk about that. So whenever we look at any asset, it can be a Bitcoin, it can be gold, it can be anything. We first of all look at the price of that asset, because price is, it's not the most important thing, but price is here. So we can see the price, but what if I tell you that we can see the sentiments of the market regarding that asset? So in our case, it's Bitcoin to US dollar. And when I want to buy that asset, I can have two different types of orders. So here, as you can see, I can buy or sell that asset. And if I want to buy that asset at the price of $36,000, so $36,500, so that current price, what I can do is just put a market order, and my asset, for example, I write $100, and I will buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. Or in our case, I will exchange US dollar to Bitcoin. But what if I want to buy Bitcoin at a specific price? For example, when the price buy or sell, when the price reaches, let me just draw something here. When the price reaches like $40,000 somewhere here, oh, it's $37,000, but whatever. So what if I want to buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin only when the price reaches that mark? So only when the price reaches that line. What I can do? I can put a limit order. So limit order is the same as market order, but the difference is that market order will execute on the current price of the market. So in our case, if I put it right now, I'll buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin, because it works both ways, with the price of $36,500. But if I want to buy Bitcoin at a very specific price, for example, I want to buy it at $20,000 or $40,000, I want to sell it at $40,000, what I can do is put a limit order. And as you can see here, what we have is a price. So for example, I can say that buy Bitcoin if the price reaches $20,000 and buy like one Bitcoin, for example. I can do that. And what that limit order allows me to do, it allows me to really pick the price that I want to use to buy Bitcoin, so to buy any asset, by the way. If I want to buy Bitcoin at 20,000, I can do it. If I want to buy gold at 20,000, I can do it, because those limited market orders and other types of orders, so as you can see, there are 5 on Binance, maybe there are some other on other exchanges, but those types of orders, they are used in any market nowadays. So yeah, as you can see, what I can do is buy Bitcoin at like 20,000, sell it at 40,000, do whatever I want with limit orders. And whenever you put a limit order, it does not execute immediately, because if I want to sell Bitcoin for $40,000, nobody wants to buy it for $40,000. Why? Because I can buy it for $36,000. Why do I need to buy it for $40,000? The only time your sell or your limit orders will be executed is when the price reaches those orders, or when someone makes a mistake and somehow buys Bitcoin by the higher price than it is for in the market right now. And all that stuff is very, very simple. But if I want to look at the market from the perspective of other people who are in it, so if I want to look at all of the limit orders, what I can do is use depth diagram here. So what is that? Depth diagram is a graph diagram that allows you to see all of the limit orders that are currently open on the market. So as you can see, we have price here. So the x-axis is a price, and the y-axis is the quantity of coins that you want to sell, so the amount of coins. In our case, as you can see, like the left side is buy, the right side is sell. As you can see, you can clearly see that right now more people want to buy Bitcoin than sell it, because we only can see that there are 1.15, so 1,000 Bitcoins for sell, and almost 600 or 6,000 Bitcoins for buy. And yeah, that is very, very simple. So the only thing that that diagram represents is all of the limit orders and their quantity. So as you can see, the price for Bitcoin buy goes from 7,000 to 33,000. And as you can see, when we go to our current price, so our current price is $36,000. When we go to our current price, so we go in the middle, we have less and less limit. So the amount of orders declines because yeah, they are closer to price, and the chance of them being finished, so being executed, is much higher because yeah, the price is right here. So as you can see, yeah, as you can see, that is the current price of Bitcoin. Yeah, here it is. So the only thing that diagram represents is all the limit orders on that exchange. And why is it useful? Because right now I can see all of the other orders, so all of the opinions of other people in the market, because I can clearly see that right now people want to buy a lot of Bitcoins, want to sell not that much of those coins. And I can see all of the different limit orders, so I can see their prices. Like, as you can, well, it's really hard to do it with Bitcoin because limit orders are being cancelled and executed all the time. But if we look at that, so as you can see, there is a big jump in the amount of coins. So as you can see, from 2,000 to 3,000 to almost 4,000 coins. And what does it tell me? That a lot of people want to buy Bitcoin with price of $30,000. All of that information can be used to help you to understand what other traders think. So as you can see, a lot of people want to sell. A lot of people wanted to sell. Yeah, right now they want to sell it for $36,000. And yeah, all that diagram is very dynamic, if I can say it like that, because all the times our limit orders are being cancelled, they are being created. So if I create a limit order right now, it will change that diagram. If I cancel my limit order off, or if my limit order is executed, so someone exchanged. So if I want to, for example, sell my Bitcoin and someone wants to buy it using my price, so my limit order is executed, then it will be removed or added from, well, in case of execution it will be removed, but if I create my new limit order, it will be added. So each change in limit orders on that exchange is represented here. And yeah, so now let's just create that diagram in Python. What I want to add in addition is that if you learned economy, then you can clearly see that those are supply and demand curves. So the green one is a demand curve and the red one is a supply curve. As you can see, the demand curve is diminishing, so it's dropping down, and the supply curve is rising. It's very interesting because all of that supply and demand is just a theory, but it works in practice. So that's very cool from my point of view. And yeah, so those are supply and demand curves, and our price, our current price, is an equilibrium for that ticker, so for Bitcoin to US dollar. And now let's just create that diagram in Python right now. So the first thing that we need to do is, of course, install pip install Python Binance library. That is the library that we're going to use for Binance API interaction, because Binance has, so that exchange has a very unique and cool API, and they also created that Binance or Binance Python library for all the Python users, so they can interact with their API much easier than just using raw requests. And the second thing that we should do is install Plotly. Plotly is a library that allows you to create graphs. If you want, you can install matplotlib, but for me, Plotly works the best. And the first thing that I want to do is import Binance, and then let's create a client for that Binance. So binance.async client. You can provide your API key and API secret inside of that client, but I'm not going to use it. And that client is an asynchronous one, so async client. And because of that, let's create an async def main function so we can request all the data that we need. Then let's create if name equals main, so that means that our file is being ran directly. And then let's import async.io. So as I already said, we are going to use async clients in Binance. They also have like normal clients, but I don't really work with those, and I think that async client is better because of the async client is just better in terms of like the implementation of that client inside of that Binance library, because as far as I'm concerned, client, just normal client, is very limited. So I'm always using async client, and I think you should do the same. So asyncio, but of course if you want you can use client. I don't like I don't force you to use that async client if you don't know asyncio, so if you don't know async and all that stuff. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is first of all get my event loop, then I'm gonna use event loop dot run until complete and run until complete main, and after that let's run forever, like that. So now we have our event loop. We can print something here. Let's run it. So yeah, as you can see, everything works. The first thing that we need to do is get that, they call it order book, but I call it a depth diagram. So we need to get that order book from Binance. In order to do that, what we can use is client.get order book, and we need to provide symbol inside of here. So symbol, it's like the currency pair that you're going to use. In our case, it's going to be BTC USDT. So BTC USDT without any slashes right here. So just the pair BTC USDT, and order book equals to client get order book. But let's never forget that we are using a sync client, so we need to await that request to be completed. And then let's print our order book, and you will see what is the result of that. As you can see, we receive a, well, it's a JSON, but it was converted to Python dictionary, so a normal dictionary. And here we have three things. Last update ID, it is used in order to synchronize your local order book and order book from Binance. If you're interested, I'm gonna do it a little bit later. So in the next video or a video after that. Then we have bits, and we also have somewhere here. Okay, let me just search for it. Asks. So we have bits and we have asks. Bit and ask. What is the difference? So bits and asks are those things. So the green one and the red one. So once again, in that diagram, red one is sell, green one is buy. So I want to buy, for example, I want to buy, I don't know, 2087 Bitcoins for 35, well, almost $36,000. Or I want to do something else. And yeah, that is kind of like it. So buy and sell. Red is sell, green is buy. I think it's very straightforward. But what are bids and asks? So Binance does not use sell and buy in order to describe their order book. They use bid and ask, and almost everyone else does the same. So bid is buy. Asks is sell. So bids and asks. So bid, ask, it's like the same. Why is that? Because bid, you are bidding. So I'm saying that I will buy that asset, so in our case Bitcoin, for that price, so for $40,000 or for $20,000. Ask is that you're trying to sell, so I ask you to sell me that asset for that amount of something. In our case it's US dollars, so I'm asking you to buy my Bitcoin for $40,000. That is the only difference. So those are bids, the green one is bids, the red one is asks. Okay, and what we can do with that? First of all, let's check our theory that those are bids and those are asks, so buy and sell. How can we do that? Well, what we know is that buy orders, so I'm not going to say bids because we need to test the theory. Buy orders start from the lowest, so buy orders always have the price lower than the sell orders, because yeah, I want to buy anything. Yeah, I want to buy Bitcoin cheaper. I want to buy anything cheaper if I can. And sell orders always have the price higher because I want to sell my asset a little bit higher than the market price. And what we can do is actually look at the prices of bids, and the same for asks, like that. Let's run our program, and as you can see, so the first one is bids, the second one is asks. What do we have here? Well, the numbers here are not that different, so what we have as the result of bids and asks, by the way, is a list of lists, and each sublist has price and quantity as the values of as the values. So the first one is price, and the second one is quantity. If I'm gonna go to the end, as you can see here, so the first one is bits, and as we said, bits is buy. I want to buy Bitcoin for $36,443, and I want to sell Bitcoin for $36,515. As you can see clearly, asks are much higher than bits. So those are sorted, and as you can see, those are much higher. And the theory is right. So bits is buy because we want to buy for less money, and ask is sell because we want to sell for more. And that's kind of it. So that's our theory tested, and everything works fine. What do we need to do now? Right now, we need to do three things. First of all, we need to import Plotly. So import, or let me import from Plotly, import graph objects. And let's actually do it like that. From graph objects, import scatter. So scatter is like a line. The only thing that we need right now is a line. So a line to represent our bits and asks. The second thing that we need to do is plotly.supports import make support in order to create our graph. So the graph itself. And aside from that, we also need to format our bits and our asks. So how to do that? Let's first of all start with the formatting. So that Plotly stuff can wait. Let's start with the formatting. What we have now? Let me just run it once again. We have a list of lists of strings. So that is a very unique thing about Binance IP, because Binance has tons of tickers, and all of those, so all of the different pairs have different prices. So if I'm looking at Bitcoin, it only has 2 decimal digits after the dot. But if I'm gonna look at something like let me look at something like I don't even know, something like XPR or XRP, so Ripple, it has far more digits after the dot. So as you can see, the prices are really different, and it's much easier for them to just put those in strings and send them to us. So in order to really use them as integers or as floats in our case, because we need to convert the string to a float, we're gonna need to do that. So let me just create bits or formatted bits, and formatted bits will be equal to a list of lists for bit in order book. But what we have here, as a bit we have 2 different values, price and quantity. So what I can say is price, quantity, like that. And let's create float from price, comma, float from quantity. And kind of like that. So float from price, float from quantity. What we did here is for every element inside of our bits list, so for every entry, if I can say it like that, for every price and quantity pair, we just converted them to float from price and float from quantity. That's kind of just it. Formatted bits, let's run it. And as you can see, those are floats, and those are floats. That's kind of just it. Okay, formatted bits, formatted asks. And here goes the same. So the only thing that we need to do right now is copy that line. Of course, it's better to create a function for that for the job, so not to repeat yourself, but that's just for you to look. So that's not, I'll delete that code later, so I can do it like that. So just convert all of the prices and all the quantities inside of, or all of the prices and all the quantities in floats. What we need to do right now is create our graph. So graph equals make subplots. Rows and columns should be 1. I'm going to tell you why a little bit later, but before that, let's just show our graph so you can see what it is like. Let's run our program, and the graph will be shown here. So as you can see, we have a grid with numbers, but there is nothing inside of that grid. We can move those axes, so we can do whatever we want, but there is nothing inside of that grid. And kind of like that. So our empty graph. Now we need to put the values inside of it. So in order to do that, let's use graph.addTrace, and we need to add scatter. So addTrace is a function that allows you to add any figure to your, or any graph object. I don't know how to say it, because that is basically a graph. To add any values to your graphs. So in our case, we are going to add a straight line. Well, maybe not so straight, but you'll see. So scatter, and what we need to do here is provide x and y. If I provide x as 1, 2, 3 and y as 4, 5, 6, let's see the result. I'll run it, and yeah, as you can see, it's a straight line, so nothing very fancy here. But now we need to provide our bids and our asks. And in order to do that, what we can do is, instead of using x and y as those lists, we can use x as a list of prices. So in our case, it's going to be, let me just do it like that. So it's a little bit prettier. So x price for price quantity in formatted. Let's start with the bits. In formatted bits. Let's run it. And yeah, as you can see, here is the price. And it's very, very similar to that left. So to that green line on the left for our depth graph, because that is basically the same line. The only difference is that if you look at the values here, so 100, 80, 60, 40, those, whoa, oh yeah, it's XRP. So those lines, and yeah, let me switch to Bitcoin because we use different currencies. Those lines are not the same. Why is that? Because as you can see, we are using well, there are no 100s here, because the only thing that we are doing for y right now is we just incremented. If you look at like at the second, so as you can see, there is a pop-up, and the second value is the y coordinate of that line. And if I'm just moving it like that, you can see that it's clearly just increasing. And that's not what we are supposed to see. Why that? Because I do not provide quantity anywhere here. And if I want to do that, what I can do is use y and do the same. So quantity for quantity in formatted bits. Yeah, formatted bits. Okay, let's run it once again. And yeah, as you can see right now, it's very, very different. Maybe because I was, what happened? Formatted bits, order book, BTC USDT. Quantity for, oh yeah, for quantity and price, because never forget that we are using two values in here. So we are using float and quantity as a combination. Okay, right now it looks better, but you can see that, okay, values are a little bit better, because now we only sell 2 Bitcoins at the price of $36,000. We only sell, how much? Well, almost 0 Bitcoins. At that price we sell, as you can see, there is a big spike here. There are spikes here. Nobody wants to sell Bitcoin for 36,000 and somewhere around $300, and all that stuff works. But why doesn't it look like that? Because the only thing that we need to do right now is see that line. But the only difference between that line and that line is that quantity is accumulated. So the only thing that I did not tell you is that when you go further for that graph, so if we're talking about bits, when we are going to the left, and if we're talking about us, when we're going to the right, the quantity is accumulated or accumulated. So the quantity is summed up. And yeah, as you can see, here we only want to sell 8 Bitcoins, but here we only want to sell, or we want to sell almost 100 Bitcoins. So as you can see on that, number, so 97, 96 Bitcoins. And that does not mean that people want to sell Bitcoins, so exactly 100 Bitcoins on that price, on $35,000. That means that people want to sell 100 Bitcoins starting from the current price to that price that I'm looking on right now. And that's very, very important, because quantity is accumulated. Why is that? Because whenever we want to buy any asset, we can just buy it with the exact price. Typically, just imagine if I want to buy 20 Bitcoins. Nobody wants to sell 20 Bitcoins for the current market price. What does that mean? If I set a limit order, everything will be alright. But if I set a market order, that means that I'll go from the start, so from the current price, $36,388, to the price level until I can reach how much? 20 or 10 Bitcoins. So if I want to buy 10 Bitcoins, I'll go from the current price to the well, it's not so much right here, but I'll go from the current price to that $36,400. Yeah, $400, $36,400. Because the only thing that I can do is execute other people's orders if I want to place a market order. So Once again, if you want to buy a lot of bitcoins or any asset at a certain price, what you can do, or with a market order, what you can do is just go from the start to the until you execute your order, so until your order is fully filled. And because not a lot of people want to sell you at that current market price, because yeah, people want to make profit and they want to sell at a higher price. What does it mean is that you go from the lowest price to the highest price until your order is filled. The same goes for the buys, but you will sell for, yeah, if you want to sell your Bitcoin at the market price, you will sell for, so if you want to sell 10 Bitcoins, you will sell from $36,400 to the, so until your order is filled. You can even go to $20,000. It depends on the amount of Bitcoins you want to sell. And yeah, kind of like that. So what we need to do is accumulate our quantity. And in order to do that, what we can use is accumulate function from Python. So accumulate, and we also need to import it. So from iter tools, import accumulate. And the only thing that we need to provide here is our iterable. So in our case, it's going to be quantity, and then we need to provide our function. And I'm going to use operator.sum. So operator is, I talked about that library, or operator.add. And it's just a library that allows you to run those functions. So very simple function that just does what it says. So add, it adds two variables. For div, it uses, well, how do you call it? An integer division or floor division. So index, it's a floor division because it rounds the number to its floor. Mode uses like that percent sign with what's left of the division. Multiplication is multiplying. And yeah, it's very, very simple. So operator function just does what it tells you. And those functions are very useful in other functions that are used with lambda. So I don't want to write my own lambda expression here, and because of that I can just use operator.add. And right now let's run our code once again, and we will see that if everything is alright. Yeah, the only thing that we need to do right now is use list here, because Plotly does not accept iterators, and accumulate returns an iterator. So we need to convert it to the list. And as you can see right now, it's much better because that is really our diagram. The only thing that I can tell you is that it's zoomed in because we don't get all of the values from Binance. We can do it, and we'll do it right now, but for now it's zoomed in. So you can see, yeah, it's very, very cool. So we can see our diagram right here. And that is the, yeah, as you saw, it was very, very it's very, very similar to our diagram. Well, it's different because we use BUSD instead of USDT, but whatever, we can use BTC here, BTUSD. Yeah, it's our own asset. So now, yeah, it already changed from our diagram because, as I said, they change rapidly, and for Bitcoin they change like very, very rapidly. So as you can see, the trading volume is enormous, and yeah, kind of like that. So a lot of people want to remove, to create, to execute orders, and because of that, that diagram changes very quickly. But now what we need to do, aside from the bits, is put asks to our diagram. So what I'm gonna do is copy that, paste it here, and instead of formatted bits, I'm going to just use formatted asks. Asks here and asks here. Let's run it, and yeah, as you can see, now everything works. So that line represents the sell, or represents the buy orders, because yeah, as you can see, it goes from $36,470 to, and that line represents bytes, and it goes from, or wait, those are different. Oh yeah, those are different because asks, yeah, those are different. That is, that's very, very cool. Oh no, wait, those, no, those are right, because yeah, I saw very similar numbers. So that line is asks, so we want to, or that line is bits, so we want to buy our Bitcoin for $36,470, and that line is asks, so we want to sell our Bitcoin for $36,530. That is very, very simple. Yeah, and yeah, you can also see the spread here. So the spread is the difference between the lowest bit and the highest ask or the lowest ask. So between the lowest in asks and bids. And as you can see, there is a spread. It's very, very tiny in terms of Bitcoin, but it can be very, very high in other exchanges. And yeah, for example, if you're working with pre-market, so working with US pre-market, so Nasdaq pre-market or any other pre-market in United States or anywhere else, so Bitcoin market is always open, Binance is always open, but if you're working with pre-market, there are far less orders than in normal trading hours, and because of that, your spread will be much higher. But once again, that's not an advice to do anything. That's all. Everything is a scam. So yeah, kind of like that. Now we can see our lines, and that is, yeah, pretty cool. So that is the only thing that we need to do right now. What we can do in addition is create a dynamic diagram here, so that it changes. But I think that it will be a great idea for one of the next videos. So just for now, you know how to create that diagram, and also what we can do is apply limit. So limit is how many entries do you want to get from your order book, and let's just apply limit to see that, yeah, as you can see, now we go from $35,000 to $38,000, and our order book has far more entries than it had before because we applied limit to the Binance API. So just use limit, and 5,000 is the max that you can get. And if you want to know more about Binance API, just go to Binance API. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, you can read about all of that. So they have a lot of things for you to interact with, and yeah, kind of like that. So today we created that depth diagram. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. My name is Andrew, and bye bye.